Thank you. Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Naomi's dad, Spike. All of you who know Naomi know that she's warm and loving, would share her last pound with you. She has a great sense of humour. She can be slightly bonkers and is often eccentric. The last three traits she inherited from me. However, if you know her mum, you'll also know she has a great sense of humour, can be a bit eccentric, and is slightly mad. But in a good way. Naomi never had a chance. As a sailor working for the Queen for over 45 years, I always thought of myself as being fantastically organised. However, at Kim's wedding, I was coming to the end of a somewhat muddled, rambling speech when I realised, to my horror, that I'd mixed my notes up and I was only halfway through. When I first met David, he told me he was an IT genius, which I thought was the same as a geek. As I got to know him, I realised that really did mean genius. I thought that as he believed in technology, then so should I. So instead of cards this time, I've written it on my phone. Wow. Apologies, but it will be short. So, welcome to this wonderful day that, to be honest, I'd almost given up hope of seeing. Coming from a family of 5 boys... So, coming from a family of 5 boys and 1 girl, I've always loved big families. So I'm really happy that David, and by implication, David, your family, is now part of ours. Thank you all for coming. And I'm aware that some of you have had long journeys this weekend. One has travelled from as far away as Colwyn Bay in North Wales, where I'm not even sure they have electricity or motor cars yet. Sadly, not everyone could be with us today. And I must mention in particular David's dad, Dave, Digger and Wynne, and of course my mum and dad, Tom Bruce. They would have loved to see us, but I know they'd been proud of the adults you've both become. So please let's raise our glasses to absent friends. So, Naomi has grown into a remarkably strong and confident woman, and I'm incredibly proud of her. I hope you both enjoy your honeymoon, but it won't be Naomi's first cruise. When she was 13, she travelled down to Plymouth Naval Base, joined a large ammunition ship that I was on at the time, sailed to Western Scotland to load ammunition at a NATO storage depot hidden deep in the mountains at the end of a Scottish loch. After a visit to the local Highland Games and 2 weeks on board a strange naval ship, she flew home on her own from Glasgow Airport. And there can't be many 13-year-olds that have done that. Confident, she could still have a Naomi head. Once, on a holiday in the Lake District, she'd taken a large number of photographs, including some orange sheep. When I finally asked her how big the film was in her camera, you've guessed it, none. She forgot to put it in. As about it, she has on many occasions demonstrated her dexterity at drinking and dancing, once resulting in a painful broken arm, which her mum never found out about until significantly later. She also has a peculiar fondness for those little cartons of milk you get in a service station, which she drank with great relish. Very strange. Nothing was given to her on a plate, but through stubbornness and sheer bloody hard work, she now has a great job near Southport and has more house building skills than Bob the Builder. Although I'm still not sure why she tried to create a serving hatch between upstairs and the kitchen. Sadly, I did something very similar when she was a child between the loft and the bedroom. She truly is a Bowditch. But I'm proud and happy that she's now also an Atkinson Doyle. It's not really for me to speak about the groom, but I will say how happy we are to have David as part of the northern branch of the Bowditch clan. And I say clan as we're part of the Baird clan from central Scotland. I knew that he would be the perfect son-in-law when I discovered that we shared a common love, not only of my beautiful daughter, but also a fondness for Lagavulin 16-year-old single malt Scotch whisky. The only tiny flaw in his character that I've discovered so far that he seems to be colourblind. He keeps getting his blues and reds mixed up. Sadly, however, I've discovered that Naomi suffers from the same affliction. They're a great couple, though, and whether it's knocking down walls or climbing mountains together, it's clear for everyone to see they're going to have a wonderful life together. And as a dad, that's all I can really ask for. David makes Naomi happy, and that's good enough for me. David, welcome to the family. You've met them all by now, so you know what you're getting into. Naomi, you now have your own home, but you both know that there's always going to be a bed and a glass of something appropriate waiting for you in all Cannings. All of us will be here for you, and whatever the future holds, you have my love, support, and enormous pride. So I wish you both well and offer my heartfelt best wishes for a future filled with love, laughter, and happiness. Now let's raise our glass to the newlyweds. David and Naomi.
David and Naomi.
My work here is done.
Please take this as no confession of a change in my opinions. My speech is on paper. Thank you, Spike. That was very... She still drinks the milk.
Yeah. Very strange.
Hello, everyone. The internet reliably informs me that the groom's speech is supposed to be a bit boring, fewer stories than the father of the bride, and less funny than the best men. So, even though I seem to have arrived here as the thorough sanding that goes between the base and top coat of paint, I will try my best to be neither tiring nor abrasive. I wanted to say thank you to everyone that's here to start with, and a small bit of admin. We wanted our guest book to feel a little different, so each of you has a card to sign. By the end of tonight, we'll have a whole deck filled with the names of the people who matter most to us. And by absolute happenstance, there are exactly 54 of you here. The thing about a deck of cards is it isn't much use if any are missing. It only works when it's complete. And that's how it feels for us, for you to have all you here today. You make our lives richer, and it wouldn't feel the same without you. Yes, Fred. A single card is a keepsake, but a full deck is a story. And the story of today will stick with us forever. It's a reminder that this moment isn't just ours, that we're sharing it with you. There is a single card that isn't on any of the tables. I'm going to keep it with me today. And while it's not going to be signed, it definitely isn't missing. Planning this wedding has made us realize how many people aren't with us, and so aren't with us today. And we'd like to take a moment to remember them. Then there are the people that are still with us, but aren't with us today. And also a big thank you to them. They've saved us a fortune. Thank you to Pete and Ian for the wonderful readings. Sorry that we only gave them to you this week. To our parents. We want to thank our parents for their love, support, advice, sometimes strongly worded, and yes, their generosity. And you were right, Bren, it is better than the brewery here. Mum and Dad, thank you for your love and support. I am here because of your marriage, and I'll do my best to live up to it. To Mum and the girls also, thank you for decorating the lovely wedding cake. And again, like Pete and Ian, Sorry, we only gave you a week's notice.
3 days. Can I just
That's a week. To Naomi's family, thank you for accepting me. You've made me feel welcome and part of pre-written clan from day one. Tilda, thank you for bringing the style. And Jasper, for handing out the confetti. I know your dad's a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure I'm now legally allowed to buy you ice cream without asking your parents' permission. Spike, thank you for the lovely speech. It really was heartfelt. Bridesmaids, distributed. Thank you for all getting Naomi here. You've done a great job. You all look magnificent. The first hair appointment was 5:30 a.m. So I'm expecting an extra invoice from Nunsmere for coffee. Lisa and Key, thank you for throwing Naomi a lovely hen do. Apparently there was a flamethrower at some point. She had a lovely time. Talk to Brenda about it. Best men. My DIY bros. My jokers. I'm here, so you've nailed it. Job one. Thank you for my stag do. After I gave them a brief, probably best to stay in the UK, maybe Scotland. Low key, country house, whiskey, maybe some shooting. And I quote directly from the calendar invite, so it has been technically said, no strippers, hookers, drugs, gangsters, or Man United fans. So we went to Amsterdam. Full night out on the town, Heineken, and we did do VR shooting, which was actually boss. But it was great, and I really had an amazing time. So thank you, and to all the stags for landing it. Phil. Yeah, you get a turn each. Phil is my oldest friend, and I was his best man 2 years ago. When I wrote my speech for his wedding, I put a lot of effort into listing all of the things that I love about him. To be honest, he hasn't done much in 2 years, and I've still got the notes from that speech. So from the top, we've known each other 34, not 32 years. He's good at everything, mostly because he gets lessons. Emily's definitely made him more chill. And then deep, thoughtful musings on the nature of humanity and how marriage is an act of selfless responsibility in an uncertain world, finishing with a beautiful C.S. Lewis quote, no pressure. But seriously, the best thing I can say is that it was never a doubt for me. From the moment Naomi said yes, you were a best man. Taz. I've tried to come up with words for Taz. He's a difficult man to describe. As usual, I'm forced to use someone else's words. Yeah. Freddie's. A former Green Beret who I just heard on a random podcast, but could not get this out my head when I first heard it. How many men have a guy they can call at 3 a.m.? There's a big difference between a 6 p.m. friend and a 3 a.m. friend. Most men have 6 p.m. friends. If you need help moving something or some advice, they're available until about 6, and then it's, oh, I'm too busy. Then there are these guys that at 3 a.m. you're calling them, and not only do you know they're going to answer, but you're going to hear in the background them putting on their pants and grabbing a shovel because they just assume we're going to bury a body. And they're down. They're ready to go. Most guys aren't lucky enough to have friends like this. Taz is a 3 a.m. friend. He always answers the call. Thank you for answering this one. Naomi. My final thank you is to Naomi for getting me here, for every moment that's led up to this, and every moment I'm looking forward to after it. Planning a wedding is a formative experience. Probably best described by that attributed Hemingway quote, "How did you go bankrupt?" 2 ways, gradually, then suddenly. But I think we've done quite well. We figured it out, we've made ends meet, managed to get you all there, and it's been very straightforward, although maybe not for the people to whom we've only been given weeks' notice for stuff. Sorry. I know a lot of you know Naomi, but for the people that I know her well, but for the people that don't, I want to give you a window into her personality, which I love so much. I've been keeping a log of unprompted things she's said to me in the few weeks leading up to the wedding. Well, this whole process, really. Yes, the 15th of September, 2023. If people who haven't RSVP'd turn up, they're just not coming in. 8 p.m., 19th of August. Oh my God, have we got napkins? 5:30 a.m., Monday. Yes. Do we have a cake topper? Yeah. 2:15 p.m. yesterday. Where's my wedding ring? It's not on the table. Oh God, we don't have time to get a replacement. What are we going to... Oh, here it is. 2:30 p.m. yesterday. Don't worry, it'll all be over soon. 3 p.m. yesterday. All my worries are gone now. 5 p.m. yesterday. I will. 1:15 p.m. today. But really, I want to tell her and you how much she means to me. I won't tell the story of how we met, because neither of us can actually remember, and it was probably in the comrades. Or how we went from friends to more and back again, or how she's been my shining light in very hard times, which she truly has. I will tell you a story, though, from early on. We just spent the day together, and I was on the bus home, 375 to Skem. Headphones in, listening to a lecture on Tolstoy, as you do. As I say, it was early on, and even though we were already us, I was completely destroyed by this passage from War and Peace. And I mean actual floods of tears on the little single seat by the driver at the front of the bus. Everyone says they have the when you know moment, and I'm pretty sure this one's mine. I can't think of any better words than Tolstoy's. So to finish, I want to give them to you and to her. Don't worry, I've edited it down. It's long, Russian, and well, it's War and Peace. So. To set the scene, after a long friendship of many ups and downs, Pierre and Nastasha are meeting. She's devastated. She's made a mistake that's ended her engagement, and while trying to comfort her as a friend, Pierre can't help but realize he wants something more. Consider me your friend, and if you need help, advice, or simply to pour out your soul to somebody, remember me. If I were not I, but the handsomest, brightest, and best man in the world, and I were free, I would go on my knees this minute and ask for your hand and your love. Natasha, for the first time in many days, wept tears of gratitude and tenderness, and after glancing at Pierre, left the room. Pierre, too, following, he almost ran out to the front hall, holding back tears of tenderness and happiness that choked him, put on his coat and, missing the sleeves, got into the sleigh. "Where to now, sir?" said the coachman. "Where to?" Pierre asked himself. "Where can I go now? Not to the club or to pay visits. All people seem so pitiful, so poor, in comparison with the feeling of tenderness and love he experienced. In comparison with that softened, grateful glance she'd given him at the last moment through her tears. Home, said Pierre, throwing open the bearskin coat on his broad, joyfully breathing chest, despite the 10 degrees of frost. It was cold and clear. Above the city's semi-dark streets, above the black roofs, stood the stark, starry sky. Only looking at that sky did Pierre not feel the insulting baseness of every earthly thing compared with the height his soul had risen to. At the entrance to the square, the huge expanse of the dark, starry night opened out to Pierre's eyes. Almost in the middle of the sky, over the boulevard, stood a huge bright comet of the year 1812. Surrounded, strewn with stars, and all skies, but different from them in its closeness to the earth. Its white light and long raised tail, the same comet which presaged all, they said, all sorts of horrors and the end of the world. But for Pierre, this bright star with its long luminous tail did not arouse any frightening feeling. On the contrary, Pierre, his eyes wet with tears, gazed joyfully at this bright star, which, having flown with inexpressible speed through immeasurable space on its parabolic course, suddenly like an arrow piercing the earth, seemed to have struck here, its one chosen spot in the black sky, and stopped. Its tail raised energetically, its white light shining and playing among the countless other shimmering stars. It seemed to Pierre that the star answered fully to what was in his softened and encouraged soul, now blossoming into new life. So, can you please toast Naomi, my best friend, my shooting star, and now finally, my wife. Who's having this? Go on, big man.
Some to follow that one.
I read it to you this morning.
You didn't read those bits to us, though? Not really, no.
Are you mic'd up? Why don't I get a mic?
Because it's in between us.
Oh, okay.
And you don't have your jacket on. Oh, give me a minute.
You're the best man.
I guess we're going to have to pass the microphone. We didn't bring a drink for the toast.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know us, we're David's best men. I'm Phil, and I've had the great pleasure of calling David my friend for 33 years.
My name's Taz. Now, I've only known David for 26 years, so not as many years as Phil. But as we all know, it's quality over quantity.
Now, when David asked us to be his best men, we were touched. Mainly because it proved he can occasionally make a decision. Although there are two of us and it took him 15 months to ask. But honestly, looking at him there today with Naomi, we'd say he's made the very best decision of his life.
So before we get into things, I'm sure you'll all agree with me on how beautiful Naomi looks. You've done well there, mate. And on behalf of the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, I'd like to thank both David and Naomi for including us on the very special day. It's been an amazing day so far, and it's clear to see all of Naomi's hard work and preparation. And David, well done for turning up. You just have a good time there, mate, yeah?
Now, being one of David's best men gives me the rare opportunity to share a little bit about David. And I've known David since reception, which, as you can tell by our hairlines, is a very long time ago.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Now, I'm sure he's hoping I've forgotten some of the embarrassing childhood anecdotes. Like how he had a poster of Louise Redknapp on his bedroom wall. Well, how in his goth era, he would swan around in a long black leather coat and sunglasses like he was Neo from The Matrix.
Yes.
Yes, And then there's the time as a 6-year-old where he was banished from his own birthday party. David had been gifted a set of plastic golf clubs. And one of his friends at the party...
I think Pat remembers.
One of his friends at the party decided that he wanted to play with the golf clubs. David was fuming about this and proceeded to beat up that child with those golf clubs. Pat was furious, sent him to his bedroom, and we carried on the party without him and without fear of retribution.
So, in more recent times with being David's best men, we were tasked with arranging a stag do. And as part of that, David gave us 3 very strict rules.
No drugs.
No strippers.
And no prostitutes.
So obviously we took him to Amsterdam. Now, obviously David isn't interested in any of that, but he did have a great time, we think. And he's probably the only stag in history to go to Amsterdam and wake up early to go on a cultural trip to the Anne Frank Museum.
Now, having known David way longer than Taz has, I've seen him grow, change and mature from a child into a man. And as a man, he's certainly more of a thinker than a doer. For example, it took him 36 years to decide he was going to learn to drive. And after 6 years of home ownership, they still don't have a floor.
He's biting his teeth now.
And then there's the several years he took to decide that he was going to finally cancel those 2 gym memberships that he never used.
It's nearly over, mate.
Nearly over, mate. The thing is, though, there is a reason why he's like this. Because he's a man who cares about always doing the right thing and making the right decisions. He's a man of morals and he's a man of principle. And that's how I know he's made the right decision in asking Naomi to marry him, and how I know he's made nothing... He'll be nothing but committed in their marriage to one another, and how I know he'll love Naomi with everything he has. I've known Naomi and David as friends, and I've known them as a couple, and I can say without shadow of a doubt, they're much happier together. They're the only couple I know who refuse to eat dinner before 9 p.m, and their shared love of a takeaway rivals no one. In fact, they love a takeaway so much that the delivery man from the local takeaway has a running commentary on the progress of their garden renovations.
Was he shocked after it was finished? He's like, oh, that was quick.
It's funny that you think it's finished.
On a more serious note, I've noticed the subtle way that they look at each other and how they laugh together. The love and happiness they share is clear to see, and it's genuinely been an honour to witness them commit to one another today.
So for anyone that knows David, knows he loves a good quote. And for anyone that doesn't know him, he's just pretty much proved it there in his speech. So I thought it'd be remiss of me not to include a quote in my own speech. And this one in particular spoke to me about the both of you. It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. And that is why I know that you guys will forever be happier together. So on that sentimental note, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding if you're able, and raise a glass.
May your love be modern enough to survive the times, but old-fashioned enough to last forever.
To the bride and groom.
Bride and groom.